Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video I'm going to teach you Python. So hope you will like this video and enjoy watching it. So let's start. Before trying to write code in Python, you need to have this setup installed. So I'm using Spider IDE from Anaconda Cloud. You can use any IDE you want, and I'm using Python 3. To be specific, I'm using Python 3.6, but there are later versions also. You can use any of them. So let's start. Go to Google and search for Anaconda Spider. You will get this link. Then go here and install according to your choice, and then begin. After you set up everything, setup will look like this. I have changed the color to green color because it will suit my eyes. So let's start. Let me create a new file. So before we begin, there are important points to remember while coding in Python. To represent a statement in Python program, we use a new line or enter. It is not mandatory to use the semicolon at the end of the statement, which is not is the case in languages such as JavaScript, C or C++ and PHP. In those languages, you will need to write this semicolon at the end of the statement, but it is not mandatory in the Python. Semicolon like this. And one more thing, in some of the languages you need to have the curly braces to define the subparts, but in the Python we use indentation, like let's say it is parent colon then child. You can see it gets self indented, and you can see a tab space is here. That's how indentation work, and we can identify the subparts. So now let's start with variables, strings, lists, tuples and dictionaries. In our first part we will talk about these things. Let me repeat again: variables, strings, lists, tuples, dictionaries. Variables. A variable stores a value. For example, let's take an example like this. Message equals to, this is the variable name, message is the variable name, and it is the value. Hello message. It is the value of this variable message, and it is of string type. We can also print it using the variable name. Let's not save it and run it here. Let's save it and run. You can see we are giving hello message. If you want to run without saving, you need to write the code here in the interpreter directly. Like this. But we will use this way. You can change the variable value at any point you want. Let's say I want message to be message 2. Then you can see we're getting message 2 as the output. Now let's look about the naming rules of the variable. Variables can only have letters, underscores and numbers. The names of the variable can begin with an underscore or a letter, never with a number. So A to Z, whether capital or small, 0 to 9 and underscore. Variable name can only have these values. And remember, a variable can never begin with the number. So if you write 5 sum, it will be a wrong and it will give you an error. When writing variable names, you should not include spaces. Instead, you can use underscores. You cannot substitute variable names for Python keyword. A keyword in Python are special words that form Python's vocabulary. A Python keyword is a kind of reserved word that you cannot use as an identifier. Python keyword is like this: false. If you assign it a value, let's say not true, and try to print this, it will give you an error. You can see syntax error, can't assign to a keyword. This one more thing I've talked about is the underscore. Let's say you are writing false name, you cannot use space, but you can use underscore like this instead of spaces. It is a valid and you will get the output. You can see not true is getting printed here. So use underscore instead of space. And there is another thing known as name error. When the name error occur, let's say you want to print false name, but you have forgot to type a in false. If you try to run this code, you will get a name error. You can see name error, false name is not defined, because we have not defined anything false name. We have defined only false name. Now let's talk about strings. Strings are bits of text you want to export out of the program you are writing or display to someone. The Python program knows that you have intended something as a string when you put single quote or double quote. So if you put something like this or like this, it is a string. You can denote it either by single quote or by double quote. This string class has numerous important features. Python has a string class known as str, and it has several features. The string literal can be bounded using single quote or double quote, but single quotes are most popularly used. Backslash space usually work pretty much the standard way inside both double and single quote literals. You can use this backslash either within the single quotes or within the double quotes. It won't affect anything. And also remember, when writing in the string, you can also have something like this for the new line. str2, let's say it. This is first line, and then backslash n, it is next line. And if you print str2, let's see what we will get. let me remove this one, comment it out. For comment we will use has in Python. Let's run it out. You can see this is the first line and it is the next line. Using this we can print in the next line using backslash and n. So let's move. Python strings are also immutable. This means once created they are unchangeable. This immutable style is also present in Java strings. Since Java strings are unchangeable, we create new strings on the fly to stand for computed values. For instance, if we add hello and there by using a plus sign, then we will get hello there. Let me explain. It is hello and there. If you assign it to my str, let's say, and then print it out, you will get hello there combined. Now let's talk about strings a little bit more. String characters are also accessible using the standard syntax, square brackets, just like in C++ and Java. Python uses sort of zero-based indexing. Thus, if string is hello, then string index 1 is E, because let me explain you. In the my str you can see at 0th index, that is h, because index start from 0, we are having h at 0th index, but at first index we are having E. So if we print the first, we should get E. You can see here E is getting printed. That is how the indexing works. And this operator, it is known as concatenation operator. It can concat two strings. Now we will discuss about string methods. So let's suppose we are having hello there as H capital, and if we print it, H is printing in capital letters, but we can lower it by using dot lower operator. It is a string method, and you can see if I run the code again, H has been changed to small letters. There are so many operators in this string. Let us talk about another main operator, that is slices. Slicing in a string. So how we do that? Suppose you want to slice it with 0 till the end. To print till the end, you need to not give anything in the after the semicolon, or you can see the colon After the colon you do not need to give anything. Semicolon is not used in Python actually. So you can see hello there, and everything is getting printed. But if you want only first 3 letters to be printed, you can write 3. It will print only 3 letters and exclude the last letter at the index 3. So let's see, HEL, only 3 letters are getting printed, 0, 1, 2. Only these letters are getting printed and 3 is excluded. So there is another way in the indexing, that is negative indexing. That is the another concept. Let us have a look at it. Let's say you want to print only the last letter. You will write -1 and then you will see E getting printed. Only E is getting printed. And let's say you want up to -1, then you can write like this and see till the last index elements are getting printed. Let's talk about lists now. In this string there are another operators like join or other operators. You can refer to documentation for all those operators. I'm not going to walk you through every operator or every string method. So now let's move on to lists. Python has a large built-in list type known as list. The list literals are usually written inside the square brackets. The list work just like strings. To access the data, they use square brackets, and the len function, the first element is at index 0. You can also check out the list docs if you want more information. Let me give you an example. So giving you an example, we are talking about lists. So let's start. List 1 equals to, let's say, integer list 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can see there are 4 elements in the list, and if you want to print it, we can also do that. You can see there are 4 elements. And now let's talk about list functions. And list is similar to string. You can use like this, 0. It will print the first element in the list, that is 1. Here 1 is getting printed, and subsequently you can use other letters. Now let's talk about another property, that is, in the list we can also have something as len function. Suppose you want to find out the length of the list, you can use like this, len. It should return 1. Let's test it out. Oh, it can only be applicable to list. Let's test it out. It should return 4 because there are 4 elements now. You can see 4 is there. Now let's talk about in and for statement. In Python, the constructs of in and for are very convenient, and you will notice that their first use is with lists. The construct for variable in list is a very easy means to look at every element in a list or some other collection. During iteration, do not add or take away from the list. If by chance you already know the components of the list, you can use a variable name in the loop in order to capture the very information. Let's give you an example. Let's say we are having squares 1 4 9 16 you can see these are all squares. Sorry for the interruption guys, actually the light went off and it is not working correctly, so I'm ending this video here and we'll continue from here in the next video. So thank you for watching, and let's wait for another upload. I will upload them both together so you won't be having any problem, and sorry for this interruption guys.